What is going on, everybody? Today we have a brand new wrestling action figure line to uncover today, man. We're taking a look at the Ringside Collectibles Unsanctioned action figure line that is exclusive to Ringside Collectibles. If you're interested in these figures or any wrestling figures whatsoever, man, go over to ringsidecollectibles.com. Use promo code MDTOYS to save yourselves 10%. But today, we're going to do things a little bit differently. I didn't want to do the traditional review where we, analyze everything and break it down. I think it is important with this first execution, and maybe we could do it with the Chase variants down the line, or maybe put it up to the Patreon members or something like that, but we're going to do a breakdown of these figures because I think it's important, because if you guys are unaware, when they first put these up, everybody was kind of wondering to themselves, okay, they're called Unsanctioned Classic Superstars. Is this going to be relative to Jax? Is this going to look like Ruthless Aggression figures? Is this going to be another bell-to-bell-esque line where, they look like some of the classic figures that we have seen over the years of wrestling action figure history? And then they revealed it to us, and it looks to be a scaled, replica, modern version of a WWE Mattel Elite or Ultimate or a Jazzwares AEW Unmatched Unrivaled Supreme figure. And I think it's important to see the scaling, see the articulation, see the likeness, how it compares to other lines, and just kind of break all of that down for you today. And that's what we're going to do. But today, we're breaking down the first ever action figures from this Ringside Collectibles toys, and it is going to be Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk here, and I'm excited for it, man. I think that we do have a pair of really good figures. Now, we are going to break down the packaging here. You can see Ringside exclusive. You have Hawk and Animal there, Road Warriors, Unsanctioned Classic Superstars. Nice imagery on the front and back there. Got some chains on the side. Spin it around. You do have their names on the sides there, and then on the back, you do get a little bit of bio read. If you want to read it, you can pause it now. But Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, pretty cool stuff, and they even have some bio info down there. So 6'2" and 6'3". We will see how they scale and all those different things, but flipping it around, we also have a Chase variant version in gray, if you guys are interested in that set as well. I haven't unboxed those yet either, but today I'm excited to dive into these, find out what they're all about, man. This is a brand new line. I think this gives us, I was very shocked when we saw that this was going to be its own line. I was very shocked when it was modern action figures, in the WWE Mattel style or the AEW Jazzwares style. If I had to stand back and look at them, they do look a bit Jazzwares-esque. They look like they have kind of similarities to the Jazzwares line, but we're going to uncover that mystery here today, break it all down for you. But when they showed that off, I was very excited because, we could get guys that aren't under contract under WWE or are under contract with AEW, and they can get some other people in the line, and that's what I'm most excited for. But it's also really cool to have modern versions, action figures that is, of Animal and Hawk, the Road Warriors here, and I've never had the elites of these guys, I've never had the basics of these guys, so this is going to be two characters that I've never had in my collection, so I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I can never get my hands on those 30 series. I can never get my hands on the original Legends, so today we're going to pop these out of the packaging, find out what they're all about, look at all the details, check it all out, and break it all down for you, man. But with that being said, let's shut the hell up, and we're going to break down every single part of this figure and then compare it to the Mattel and AEW Jazzwares equivalents. Let's shut the hell up and crack them out. So here are both figures out of the packaging, and I have, I've taken them, I've posed them around a little bit, and they most definitely remind me more of Jazzwares figures than Mattel or WWE Elites. And right out of the packaging, they did have a little bit of difficulty standing, but upon posing them around and whatever, they got less stiff, and I was able to stand them up on their own here. But these guys are roughly about the same height. Hawk looks a little bit taller here, which is accurate. It says 6'3", 270 to the 6'2", 305 there. I think they do, the shoulder pads, they don't really fasten on there. They are just kind of sitting on there, but if you were putting them on display or something like that, I think if you were posing them or whatever, like walking out to the ring or whatever, I think you'd be okay with that. I don't think they're going to fall off or anything, but these are pretty nice. I like the spike details and everything like that. I think that the strings and sculpts all look good here. I think they did a good job on these shoulder pads, man. I think these are definitely classic shoulder pads, you know what I mean? And in real life, they would have straps that go underneath there and hook on, but yeah, not bad right here. Not a bad take. I think these have a really good sculpt and the colors look good, so I am proud of the shoulder pads. And there's no distinction between the two. It's just the same exact shoulder pads for both members of your Road Warriors. Now, getting into the likenesses, we do have Animal right here, and his head sculpt, you have kind of like a stern face, and then you have a pissed off face with the face paint looking relatively similar. This face paint, I don't know exactly what event it's from or what exact face paint this is, but it reminds me of that one Yu-Gi-Oh episode where he fights that other dark magician. I can't remember the name of the character, but that's what it reminds me of. It's when his feet were chained up and the buzzsaws were coming for him. If he died, it's like a shadow game. Yeah, it's just what these stripes remind me me of, but nonetheless. He also comes with interchangeable hands, which we'll take a look at in just a moment, but getting into the bodies here, these guys do have different torsos, which is good because I always found Animal to be a little bit wider than Hawk, but you are getting sort of a broader, less defined on the lower torso, and then down here you're getting a more defined lower torso, but it looks like their upper torsos are slightly different as well, so you're getting unique sculpts on these guys. But on Animal, he does have his tattoos in there, which look pretty good there. You're getting pinless arms in there, and another interesting thing they're doing about the articulation, which we're going to compare these figures to an Elite, to a Jazzwares, and just look at them all across the board here, but they do have a ball joint at the waist just like an AEW figure does, so that's very interesting. And then they do have ball joints just like an AEW figure and all those different things, but I want to break down the articulation in a moment. Just wanted to get into some of the different things here with Hawk and Animal. And then getting into Hawk, he does come with a tongue out expression and then kind of just a blank expression. Kind of looks like Jesse Ventura to me a little bit, but it does definitely resemble Hawk, I'd say. Maybe not true effects, but they still look really good. I think the hair looks good and everything like that. I really like that. I like the way the sculpt is and everything. A lot of people saying that these head sculpts were a little small, which I can probably agree with. We'll see when we stand them back next to the Elites and things like that. You get a better idea. But again, I think these guys are using the same shoulders, the same arms, it looks like to me. I could be wrong there. I think they are the exact same though, and they do have interchangeable hands like we talked about, but his is a little bit different here. You get all the striations, you got the crotch piece in there, giant thighs. These knee pads are also interesting because they're removable, which I think I'm going to remove mine. I know the original Mattel Elites, pretty sure they didn't have knee pads. Their Redditor Elites didn't have knee pads, and I think I like that better, so I may take these off, but you can unport that and then it'll remove the knee pads. It's pretty unique. I can't remember, at least off the top of the dome, any figure company that's done that before. You know, usually you gotta remove the boots and then take the knee pads off, but I don't remember anything. I don't know if Jax or somebody like that did that back in the day. It wouldn't shock me if they did, but I don't remember it off the top of the dome. You do have the sculpted boots in there, which are very similar to the Mattel sculpt, but I mean, if you're all sculpting like you're trying to sculpt the exact same boots in a different way, they're all gonna obviously have a very similar deal going on. But I want to bring up a Mattel Elite and just kind of in a Jazzwares figure, and let's walk through some of the articulation. So here are the three lines. We have a WWE Elite Seth Rollins, we have the Ringside Collectible Toys Animal, and we do have the AEW Unrivaled / Unmatched Kenny Omega figure right here. And I think these scale pretty well together. Seth Rollins is built at 6'2", I think, and 6'1", and I mean, I think that these scale pretty well. It's not, you know, they're not giants or anything like that, which I think is the big deal. Like, if you put a Kane Ultimate in here, the Kane Ultimate still stands over, you know, the other characters. So I think that is, you know, he's not the height of a damn Rey Mysterio. He's not the height of the Kane. So I think he is in that medium ballpark where I think he can get away with it, where you're not going to be like, damn, this guy is clearly way too big or way too small or what have you. But let's break down some of this articulation here. So as we know, the WWE Mattel Elite just has a regular ball joint. So you don't get a lot of articulation out of this guy. You know, he can't look down really. He can't look up any. That's something that I talk about with Mattel all the time. I'd like to see a ball hinge implemented. I'd like to see a double ball joint implemented in the neck of these Mattel figures. Ultimate Elite doesn't matter, but let's find out what the Ringside Collectible Toys or the RSC Toys Animal figure has here, and he can look down all the way, and he can look up all the way, so that's very damn good right there. And you'll see that he implemented a ball hinge, which is very interesting because this company over here, AEW and Jazzwares, they also implement a ball hinge, so he can look down and then his hair gets in the way, but you'll see that is a ball hinge. I think that they're very, very similar. My God, these, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if these were made in the same factory. Maybe, I don't know. They definitely have like a similar stylized look though, but I don't know if that was on purpose or if they are actually constructed in the same factory. I don't know. I don't know those things, you know what I mean? But ball hinge is essential. So I have a couple ball hinges and just a regular ball peg. Let's get into other parts of the articulation. Not that it really matters that much, but I mean, the shoulder can go out right at 90 on this Elite, and then you get the full rotation. You get the double jointed arm right there that is pinless, and then, you know, you do get wrist hinge and rotation right there. So, I mean, that's nothing new. We've seen that before. On this guy, he can go above 90, which is very similar to Jazzwares as well. He can go full rotation, bicep swivel, and he also has a double jointed arm right there, and I think he could hold a microphone and talk and do all those things, so I don't think you're going to be annoyed with that. And the wrist also hinges and rotates, so you do get some good articulation there. And last but not least, we do have the AEW Jazzwares one, just to give you a comparison. Above 90, bicep swivel. He doesn't have pinless arms, but he does have a double jointed arm, and they have the same range of motion pretty much across the board. Now, we're getting into the ultimate test, which I think is the big test between these, and that is going to be the ab crunch. So, Mattel Elites, they have a decent ab crunch, as you can see there, but then I want to leave that right there. Without bending the waist, it's just the typical ab crunch here. Like, you got to stand the guy up, and then you got to crunch over, and Okay, his upper ab did pop out right there, but it does seem like it's sinking down a little bit more. He may even fall over because he's sinking over so far right there, but that is kind of what you're getting there. And then for the Kenny Omega Jazzwares, you know, these guys have pretty good ab crunch as far as a ball joint is concerned. And out of a ball joint, you usually can hunch over a little bit more there. I know that's kind of a funny thing to look at, but there's kind of your range of motion. I think it can get a little bit deeper here, but I mean, that's kind of obvious. And then if you were to bend over at the waist or like move the legs more, you'd probably be able to crunch up a little bit more, but that kind of gives you an idea of where these guys are in terms of ab crunch. But one thing that's also cool is you can pop that off right there. Now, this guy has a ball joint at the waist too, and so does the AEW figures, and they are very similar here. I don't know what kind of, you know, changes you can make. If you want to switch a torso or something, maybe you'd be able to make that happen. I don't know what figures have, you know, the right size hole or whatever the case is. I do have a Sting over here that may have a bigger, you know, a bigger ball joint here. Yeah, it does look like it's a little bigger, so maybe you could put this on here. I don't think so. Nah, I mean, I forced it pretty good. I don't think it's going in there. It might fit on a different character, like a Wardlow or something like that, but I don't think so. And then if you wanted to put these white legs on here, nah, it's too big. I mean, I guess you could sit it on there, and then there you go. You got, I mean, that doesn't look half bad, but it is just sitting on there. It's going to fall off. So, I don't know, just some different things that I wanted to do in this video. And again, it's just kind of experimenting, just trying to see, you know, what's the full range on these guys? What is possible on these Animal and Hawk figures, and what's to be expected in the future from Ringside Collectible Toys with this line and the unsanctioned action figure. So I wanted to do it a little bit differently than everybody else's reviews here. So I just wanted to, you know, break it down, see what we got here. But they're all three on ball joints, and, you know, they should all three be able to kick forward pretty good there. Let's see the kick forward on this guy. It does, okay, so it pops. Okay, that's an interesting deal there. So he can kick forward, I mean, right at 90, just above 90 right there. And if you push it too far, it will pop off, but it doesn't break, so that's good. You do get an upper thigh cut. You do get a double jointed knee. It does have a knee pad, so that's probably going to interfere a little bit, but then you do get boot swivel, and you do get a really good ankle pivot there, and the boots go down and up. So that's pretty, I mean, dude, that's about everything you'd want out of Articulation nowadays. And I mean, you could say, give me some butterfly joints, give me this, give me that, but I think that at a, you know, this is not trying to be an Ultimate Edition. This isn't trying to be something like that. You got pretty much like two Jazzwares figures, two elites, almost, if you will, in this set. And I think that, you know, for the most part, it's everything that you want out of a standard figure in terms of an elite or an unrivaled figure. We can bring in the Ultimate Edition here. Now, that one doesn't have Ultimate Edition boots on it, but I could bring in the Cody Supreme so you can kind of see a Cody Ultimate versus a Cody Supreme. And I know that it doesn't have the right boots on there, but there's kind of a, you know, just kind of a comparison, because this has a similar ab crunch to this over here, and we know that, you know, Ultimates really don't have any ab crunch whatsoever, but this does have butterfly joints as well. It cuts in pretty good there, which is pretty, I don't know, I like the Supreme line. I think their butterfly joints are pretty good too. Just on these, on the Ultimates, I know that this doesn't have butterfly joints, but maybe it will one day, but that's a different, I guess, it's thing for a different video. But, you know, you are getting an open hand on the right, and then a mic holding hand on the left, and then you are getting a pair of fisted hands for both characters, so Animal and Hawk both get a pair of fists. They also get a pair of entrance style hands, and then they both get a pair of mic holding hands. So you get 3 pairs of hands with each character, an interchangeable head sculpt, and then they come with their shoulder pads, plus you get 2 figures. So pretty valuable set, I'd say. I think the 2-pack ran you, what, like $55.99, $56.99, something like that. But I think that, I mean, overall, I'm pretty impressed with the figures, man. I think that this is a good start. I don't think that it's a perfect figure by any stretch. I think that some of the things that I have a problem with are just the things that I'll lay it out for you here. Let's get them both on screen. I'll kind of lay out what my whole thoughts are. I don't want to put the shoulder pads on there because I want to see if you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I think that the arms and the lower torso are a different color than the upper torso, just slightly, and it may just be because of the lighting I'm using. I have very bright lights right here. It's kind of like a review station, right? So you may get that picked up on camera, but I do enjoy this line. I think that it does have a lot of potential, and I think that Tom and the Ringside Collectibles team did a really good job at this first inclusion, and I think they did a really good job just keeping it under wraps, and then bam, here they are for order. I think that's awesome. Didn't build up any hype. I mean, they kind of did because they posted the logo and they were like, hey, you know, this is coming, and they had everybody speculate, and then they drop it on you out of nowhere, and then boom, they're in your hand. So I think that is cool. I think that they're a lot more equivalent to a Jazzwares than they are to a Mattel Elite. It's just kind of like the way they build the figures, the plastic seems about the same. They feel kind of the same in hand. But again, I think this is a really good start. I'm excited to see where the line goes. I think this, again, I think these are good representations of the characters. I think if you're, if you want Road Warriors, these are good inclusions, and I think that they will fit into your collection. I don't think you're going to get these guys and be like, what the hell is that? And that's another thing I wanted to showcase, is I wanted to showcase these guys next to the Steiners, just so you can kind of see if this is something that you want to do with your collection. You got the Ultimate Edition Steiners. I think they're going to fit right in there with them, man. I don't think you're going to look at these and be like, damn, I can't put those on the shelf. Nah, bro, they look to fit pretty good to me. And I don't love the Road Warriors like the Hardys or something like that, but I can still say that I think these work. I don't think you're going to get these in hand and be like, damn, these suck, or nah, these can't hold up. I think they can absolutely hold up, and while they're not perfect, and it's not like I've posed a 5-star classic with them or anything, I think that so far they are pretty good. I think that the torsos get a little loose as well. I've seen, after crunching them up and articulate them a little bit, I think some of the joints may get a little loose on you, but it's nothing that you can't handle, I don't think, at least in my experience so far. But hats off to Ringside Collectibles for this attempt so far, and I think this is a really good start to the line. Hopefully all works out and pans out, and I think it will. I think that Tom did a really good job, again, heading this line, and we'll have to see where it goes from here, man, but I think that's pretty much going to wrap up today's kind of review and detailing of these figures here. Again, I didn't want to do like a typical review like we usually do. Wanted to change things up a little bit here, but you guys can let me know what you think of everything here down in the comment section below. I wanted to break down the differences between all three of them and what I think, feeling them in hand, posing them around, what they remind me of between all three lines that are competitive on the market right now today between WWE Mattel, AEW Jazzwares, and Ringside Collectibles Toys Unsanctioned line. So, great start, man. We'll see what happens, but I'm getting the hell out, man. A huge shout out to the Patreon members, man. Appreciate all of you fellas so very much. I hope you guys did enjoy. Leave me all of your thoughts down in the comment section below on all of these things, man. But I'm getting out. I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.